One of the most popular post-emerge soybean herbicides in the country today is Flexstar. The active ingredient is fameciphin. There are actually a lot of generic versions now to Flexstar, and this fameciphin or Flexstar, it's in a lot of premixes as well. So we want to talk just a little bit today about how best to use this product, some of the misconceptions that are out there, and where not to use this product.
I was just thinking, if we could go back in time about 5 years, you would certainly not make that same first statement. One of the most popular soybean herbicides in the country is Flexstar. In fact, with Roundup Ready soybeans, when they first came out, I think the two products that got eliminated the fastest on most farms were Cobra and Flexstar or Reflex, because they burn the beans a little bit. And now those dealers are right back to, wow, we got to make sure we have lots of Flexstar around because guys are going to need it to control Roundup resistant weeds.
Okay, and specifically, there is no better product on water hemp than Flexstar. If your water hemp is Roundup resistant, and if you get that water hemp when it's relatively small, Flexstar can do a nice job.
Well, there are plenty of weeds that farmers may choose to use Flexstar on. You may be fighting common ragweed or even giant ragweed. Flexstar has been a good help. And I like how you talked about spraying it when the weeds are small, Brian. And here's one of the things that we really like to point out with products like Flexstar that can be used post-emerge in soybeans. We really prefer to use them post rather than pre. And as you had mentioned earlier, there are premixes out there that have it to be able to use pre-emerge, like Prefix, for example, has got Reflex right in there. We don't really like using those if we have Roundup resistant weeds because we want to save all our options, keep all the options on the table to be able to use post-emerge, because once you have ragweed get through your herbicide program, or you have water hemp or palmer pigweed, a number of weeds, you just don't have many good rescue products if you don't have Reflex or Flexstar to use.
Yeah, what it comes back to is if you can't use Flexstar post-emerge, your next best choice for a Roundup resistant water hemp or Roundup resistant ragweed is going to be Cobra in a lot of cases. Well, of course, there's First Rate that does a good job on ragweed too, but still, Cobra will burn the beans typically a lot worse than what Flexstar will. So we'd really like to save that Flexstar for post-emerge use. There are plenty of other products we can use pre-emerge in soybeans. I think of Metribuzin, I think of the yellows, the DNA products, Treflan, Sonliner, Prowl, we've got Authority and Valor. We've got a lot of things we can use pre-emerge that can attack water hemp and ragweed, so why not use those products pre-emerge? Those can't be used post-emerge anyway. Save the Flexstar for post-emerge.
The other thing too to mention is when we're talking about using either Flexstar or Cobra, you'd made the comment about the burn, and I talked about that just a little bit. I want to say this, burning leaves is a lot different than, man, we're going to take 10 bushels off my yield. You just don't know that. When you burn leaves on soybeans, are you impacting your yield? That's a good question. You don't really know the answer. You would like to think, well, yeah, you have to be, don't you? Because you're kind of hurting that plant, but putting a little stress on the plant isn't always a bad thing. And the other side of it is if you have to kill weeds, weeds are big yield robbers. Burning a few leaves on a soybean plant, especially early to mid-season, is not that big a deal. If you've got weeds out there, you will help your yields by killing the weeds, even if you have to burn a few leaves to do it.
Yeah, but the other thing that we've learned over the years is if you have a good nutrient plan out there, you have a good fertility program on your farm, you don't have as much leaf burn. So as long as, granted, you're not spraying when it's 105 degrees out or anything like that, if you spray when the temperatures are fairly nominal, 85 degrees or less is great. And if you have good, especially boron levels, micronutrient levels in general, in your crop, everything else is in good shape, you'll typically have less leaf burn and almost zero yield response or negative yield response. In fact, sometimes you might even see a slight yield boost. So don't get too worried about this burning the crop thing. What I am much more concerned about is carryover to the next crop. With Flexstar or fameciphin, we have to be concerned about that carryover thing, and it's a bigger issue the farther west we are because of lack of moisture, and the farther north that you go in the United States because of colder temperatures. So yes, in the southeast part of the United States, you can use a fair amount of Flexstar. Where we farm, we can only use 12 ounces of Flexstar safely, and even then, I like to be really careful with that because there's a 10-month rotational restriction to corn. So if I want to plant my corn, let's say April 15th, what does that mean? That means you have to have your Flexstar sprayed by June 15th. So once again, this Flexstar fameciphin, it's a fantastic product on water hemp and ragweed. We want you to implement it into your program if you have Roundup resistant weeds, but just do it post-emerge. Use something else pre-emerge that can be used pre, because you can only spray Flexstar once a season, and you really probably shouldn't be spraying it back-to-back years. You got to be really careful with that 10-month rotational restriction to corn. But otherwise, like I say, it's a great product, really doesn't cost that much money.
Well, the downside of Flexstar brand is it doesn't kill every weed out there because it won't stop our weed of the week, but we'll show you what will coming up later in the show.